whatever heart for young people of India. If like, is that something that you're interested about, or is it like it's more of a holistic kind of an approach?
Well, honestly, last night I had a message on Facebook by a guy who wrote, "I'm not a Christian, but I enjoy your music. Thank you for putting music like that." And so personally, that touched my heart.
Yep.
And so what I'm looking at is that this music should be able to impact people. That when they listen to it, that it should be able to change their lives.
Yeah.
And that they should have an experience of closeness with God, and that's what I'm looking at. That lives would change.
Yeah.
And that's what the music is for.
All right, that's awesome. So I don't know how many of you guys know that Sheldon Bangera is the only artist I would say like in the world from India who's representing India with integrity music. Is that correct?
That's right.
So that's awesome. So thank you, Sheldon, for representing us. Tell me, how was it working with Hamare amazing integrity people? How was it, the experience?
Well, the experience has been amazing. In fact, there's so much to learn, there's so much to explore, and I thank God for the opportunity, the privilege to be able to work with some of the senior most people who have helped shape, much of the Christian music world, worship music world. And so it's been an amazing experience, especially while we were producing the album and working on the mixes with Les Moya. And Les is such an amazing guy in terms of his commitment to quality, and as well as it was just so amazing to work with somebody who's been instrumental in bringing the Matt Redmans and Martin Smith.
That is amazing stuff. And tell me, Sheldon, like I know we're like messing around and stuff, but tell me, where do you see yourself as, number one, a Christian, a minister, probably a pastor in the future? Where do you see your role in Christianity in India in the next 5 to 10 years, in let's say a decade? Where do you see yourself in this, and what would you like to see happen in India?
Well, I would really love to see more young people meet with God. My sole goal is to see people experience God and people have a one-to-one relationship with God, because a relationship with Jesus is a very, very personal thing. And I remember a few years ago, God spoke to me at this moment, and God said, "I'm going to use you as an example for the young people of this nation." And it was quite a huge thing for me to grasp. And I'm seeing some of that unfold as days go by, and God's opening doors and avenues and opportunities to represent Him. And I've always believed when God gives us a platform, He gives us a voice to be heard, and that voice is to declare Him and His glory.
Yeah. Why don't you tell people about this whole Jago thing that you have started over the past, I want to say 6 months or so, and you want to keep on going ahead with that. What is the whole Jago tour about?
Well, Jago is it's a vision that God gave us to awaken a generation.
So you have a band.
Yeah, we have a band and we have a Jago team working together on this.
Awesome.
And it's interesting to see what God is doing in various pockets. We just had one in Pune, then we had one in Ahmedabad. And
how many people come to an event which is...
Well, anywhere between 2 to 10,000 people. We are looking at a Jago a month from now, where we're expecting about 10,000 people.
That's all. Where is that going to be?
That's in Pune. We're scheduled in Pune. And it's amazing to see young lives impacted. It's amazing to see young artists come out, and songwriters and worship leaders bring their art and craft and lead people into worship a whole new level.
So it's going to be worship, or it's going to be worship, word, music, workshop?
It's mainly worship and word, and we're looking to do more workshops and teach and train people on a larger level.
I like the fact that you're the few people who is using an opportunity like integrity and promoting Indian music, Indian sounds. So what do you have to say about worship in India, the expression of worship? How would you like to see that in the coming days with the young folks especially?
Well, worship in India is amazing, and it's totally unique in a sense, because we always have this discussion of English songwriting versus Hindi songwriting, and they're totally different. I sometimes think that the Western world worships God with their mind and heart, and the Indian worships God with their heart and mind.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that makes sense in any way, but I think the average Indian is more about how we feel while we worship God and how we're able to express those feelings, and there's something that happens divinely. And so we're trying to use some of these core Indian instruments and the Indian feeling and the aesthetic of it, while not diluting the theology in the songwriting and stuff. And so,
which I think is amazing, because no matter kaun sa Harvard mein you've studied, it doesn't matter whether you're from America, India, Africa, but if you're an Indian, once that dholak starts playing, I don't know, something starts to move in each one of our bodies. So that's amazing that you've incorporated that. What would you want them to respond in the best case scenario? I heard your CD, Raaja Hai Mahaan, and I emailed you saying dash. What would that dash be?
saying, I had an experience with God.
Awesome.
I mean, that's pretty broad, but that is ultimately the goal of the album, that every song and every melody and every note and chord should bring the listener closer to God.
Amen. And not try to bootleg it or pirate it or whatever as well, right? Awesome.